Hey everyone, I'm Kim, the mom boss behind EmeryandK. Welcome back to my channel. Today's Tumbler tutorial is going to be a little bit of a throwback with some hand-drawn tie-dye. I will list everything you'll need in the description box below. I'll have a few discount codes for you as well. I can't wait to show you how to do this. Let's get to it. As always, we're going to start with our fully prepped and painted cup. So today I am using this 20-ounce Stubby from Craft Haven. This is a new size for me, and I've got to say I'm really digging it. So we're going to grab some Marabu alcohol ink markers to draw our tie-dye. So we're going to be using 4 different colors. We're going to be using cool gray. I think you say this one cerulean blue, but I could be butchering that, but it's number 952. Brilliant violet and ultramarine blue. And if you don't want to do like a blue-purple vibe, you can totally use any colors. This is tie-dye. Get creative and do what your heart desires. So these Marabu markers have 2 sides. There's kind of like a chisel tip end and a more fine end. We're going to be using the finer end. So to start your tie-dye, the first thing you're going to want to do is grab your lightest color marker. You're going to find about the center of your cup. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. And you're going to start drawing just a big swirl around your cup. Now you can make this as large or as small as you want it. It totally depends on the aesthetic that you're going for. Your craft room, your rules. I like to do mine a little bit larger just because that's the look that I like. So once you get to the ends, you can see here I'm kind of drawing a couple more lines, just starting at the very top or the very bottom of the cup and just following the pattern. And you're going to continue to draw your lines until you have about an equal space between the last 2 as you do between the rest of the lines on your cup. And I hope that makes sense. So once you have your swirl outline done, you're going to go in with that same color marker and you're going to start drawing just literally little up and down, like zigzags, lines, whatever you want to call it. I don't really pick up my marker. I just go around the entire cup. There are some spaces where I do them a little bit smaller, some a little bit longer. Some of them I do really close together. Other ones I leave a little bit of a gap. This is tie-dye. It's organic. It doesn't need to be perfect. Don't get too much into your head about this. My biggest tip when doing a hand-drawn tie-dye tumbler is to put on an episode of your favorite show or some music that you really like and just let your mind wander and do its thing and just continue to put your colors around your tumbler. These do take a little bit of time. I think all in all, this one took me between coloring and the blending. It took me about 45 minutes, so not really a lot of time. And this is the brunt of this tumbler. This is where you're going to be doing the most amount of work. So all in all, in the whole grand scheme of things, I guess you could say, it doesn't take that much time. Now you will notice here in just a bit with this gray marker, I have to grab a piece of paper to kind of wipe my marker off. I find with the lighter colors, I get like kind of a buildup of spray paint almost on the tip of my marker. You can see here it's not really coloring as opaque as I want it to. So I just grab a scrap piece of paper and I literally just kind of doodle on it and it just takes that white spray paint off your tumbler. Now I prefer to use like a semi-gloss paint when I am painting cups for tie-dye. I find that gloss builds up on my markers a lot faster, but just use whatever you have. And if you start to have a little bit of buildup on your pen, just kind of do a little swirlies on a piece of paper and it will clean right off and you can go right back into continuing your tie-dye. Now I am going to speed this up because we don't need to be sitting here for 45 minutes watching me do this. Once I finish this gray, I'm going to go ahead and grab my next color, which is this cerulean blue. I don't know, again, if I'm saying that right or not. And I'm going to do the same exact process with that blue up and down lines, some big, some small. After that cerulean blue, I'm going to do brilliant violet, same exact process, and then the ultramarine blue. So I'll go ahead, put on a little music, and I will speed this process up. now that our tie-dye is all drawn on, we're going to go ahead and grab a little paintbrush. I prefer to use an angled one that's a little bit stiffer. I hope that kind of makes sense, not like a super fluffy one, just so that you have more control. And then you're going to grab some rubbing alcohol. I have mine in this cool little pump bottle. So I like to dip my paintbrush in the rubbing alcohol a little bit, and then I like to blot it off on a paper towel. And then we're going to take our paintbrush and we're just going to do little strokes. So I like to work from the lighter to the darkest, and I'm just doing, you can see little tiny strokes working from, like I said, the lighter to the darker color, and it just kind of helps to blend them. When your paintbrush gets dry, you're going to go ahead and dip it in your rubbing alcohol again, and you're going to continue this process all the way around your cup. So I'm doing the gray into that blue, and then I will do the blue into the purple into the blue, and then for the very end where that darker blue and the gray meet, I kind of alternate. Sometimes I'll go from the darker into the lighter, and then sometimes I'll go from the lighter to the darker, just so that it gives my cup a little bit more of a variety. So again, this part takes a little bit of time, just like drawing it on does, but this is where the brunt of the work's going to be for this tumbler. Once this is done, you'll go ahead and put on a coat of epoxy. I'm going to be sprinkling on a little bit of chunky glitter for mine. If you weren't putting on chunky glitter, you literally can throw 3 coats of epoxy on this tumbler and it's all finished, assuming you don't want to do a decal. So this is really where the brunt of your work is going to be. So I'm going to once again go ahead and speed this video up so that you guys can just kind of see what I'm doing here as I'm going around the cup. I feel like this is something that you learn a little bit better just by seeing it done versus me just talking to you. So I will see you on the other side of this when we are doing some epoxy and some sparkle. once we're finished blending, we're going to move straight into epoxy. There's a lot of opinions on if you should seal your alcohol ink markers or not. I don't seal mine and I don't have issues with it. My biggest tip for when you apply your epoxy to your alcohol ink markers is not to overwork it. So I will scoop some up, I'll let my hand run along the tumbler horizontally on the top, horizontally along the bottom. Then I use a single finger and I will go up vertically on my tumbler, one spin around, and I leave it alone. And I apologize, I meant to film putting epoxy on this tumbler and I totally forgot. So hopefully what I just said makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know and I can make a quick video to share. Now I wanted to add a little bit of sparkle to my tie-dye, so I am using this chunky glitter. It is called I Smell Snow from the Glitter Guy. This is my hand-curated mix and I am absolutely smitten with it. So as you saw, I just kind of pinch my fingers in the glitter. I let all the extra fall off and I'm literally just kind of flicking whatever glitter sticks to my fingers onto my tumbler. I knew I wanted some sparkle on this, but I didn't want to overwhelm all that work that I just did getting this beautiful tie-dye. So you want to go super light. Don't go too fast. You can always add more, but you can't really take it off. So I'm going to continue this until I'm happy. I'm going to put it back on my turner, let this coat of epoxy cure. I will do a coat of my Rust-Oleum clear gloss over that chunky, and then I will give this tumbler 2 more coats of epoxy and it will be finished. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, maybe a little bit inspirational. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on my video. If you want to see more tutorials in the future, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, happy crafting.